Jason Isaacs is very sorry about putting his foot in his mouth. I said the wrong words in the wrong way. Isaacs clarified the variety in the wake of backlash to his comment. I used the phrase double standard, which I didn't mean at all. There is a different double standard. Women have been monstrously exploited and men haven't. The British actor found himself in the middle of an awkward conversation last week when the host of CBS Mornings asked him to discuss his full frontal nudity scene from The White Lotus. In an attempt to dodge the question, Isaacs playfully railed against the double standard that male actors face when it comes to on-screen nudity. He specifically pointed to Honora's Mikey Madison and the Substance's Margaret Qualley, arguing that they aren't asked to discuss their own prosthetic genitalia. He explained to the outlet his intention was to lightheartedly brush off the question so that the interview wouldn't veer away from the show or take away from creator Mike White's brilliance. He continued, "It came out wrong and I was tired. I'd done so many interviews. I absolutely should not have mentioned those two actresses, whom I respect enormously. Mikey Madison I'm a massive fan of. My point wasn't that men have had a harder time than women. That would be absurd. Women have had a monstrous time on camera forever, and I hope to God that is changing." He also acknowledged that women have been exploited forever in cinema and made to be gratuitously naked and asked totally inappropriate questions, and suggested that as part of the reason The White Lotus leaned so heavily on male nudity, to redress the unfair balance. That said, Isaacs has no regrets about pushing back on one particular question from CBS hosts Gayle King, Tony Del Couple, and Nate Burleson, which he called embarrassing and inappropriate. "I have been asked so many times in the same day by journalists, 'Are you wearing a prosthetic?' Which means, 'Have I seen your actual penis?' It's very important for me to know if I've seen your penis," he explained. "It just strikes me as a bit weird and slightly obsessive. I thought I could have fun batting it off, but I batted it off very poorly." Isaacs also expressed hope that the twists and turns still coming from The White Lotus third season will help people finally move on from the conversation over his prosthetic. During an interview with Entertainment Weekly, the actor teased the second half of the season for his character. He's drugging himself into a stupor to try not to think about the fact that his entire life is blowing up, he pointed out. "I remember reading the scripts thinking, wow, I've got to keep my powder dry for 5 or 6 episodes, and then this really kicks off." Isaacs continued, "You haven't seen other things that are coming, but I just remember thinking, I better dig deep and produce something here, because there's a lot of parts you can go through and tell a very dramatic story without your character going through anything extreme. But there's some big old acting coming up."